Hi, my name is Predrag Simovic and I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel Predrag Simovic Music. In today's video I'm going to cover Charlie Parker's first chorus solo over our Privave Take 2. So let's get going. So here's lick number 1 in time. It uses approach patterns, it uses, chromaticism, it uses Charlie Parker's signature lines that he uses in his melodies. So you start with approach pattern G to F, 2-1, right? And here is the typical Charlie Parker from Billy's Bounce, right? And now you get this. You got flat 7 to 9. It's pretty cool sound. And he uses this only to approach F. It's like approach below and above into F note. E flat, G to F. This is typical Charlie Parker. And then just moving down in the previous position, and you're playing G to E flat, which is tension 9 and minor 7 to dominant 7. So you get this. Broken down. That was lick number 1. Welcome to lick number 2. The chord progression for lick number 2 is following: B flat 7, B flat minor 6, A minor 7. So what's Charlie Parker doing here? He's simply using arpeggios, and again he's using indirect voice leading. I talked about that in my previous Charlie Parker lesson in the lick that I created. And what he's doing is he's playing first inversion arpeggio of B flat major 6, it's like sweeping on guitar, right? And then B minor 6, you hear the voice leading, indirect is here. And now over A minors, Charlie Parker is playing following. Now we are into D7 basically, but you hear the chromaticism after, it's like direct voice leading and bebop scale and everything, right? Approach patterns. So the important thing about lick number 2 to remember is you can pick up Charlie Parker's arpeggio run. So here's the arpeggios from lick 2. You're playing B flat major 6, playing that G note in the end, and then you're playing first inversion B flat minor 6, right? And now you're playing A minor arpeggio. So when you connect it, you can use many different fingerings here. What I'm using is I'm starting with third finger, using first on F, second on B flat, first on D, and then fourth on F, and third on G. I suggest picking one fingering and practicing throughout, right? Because you want to get this up to speed and practice in different tempos and different keys, different positions, right? So start with one fingering first and then move on to other fingering options. So rhythm, ta-taka ta-taka, ta-taka ta-taka, right? Same rhythm on B flat minor 6. Now fingering here is second, first, third, first finger. Now you're moving like down one position, and again you have this F note on your fourth finger, and third finger again playing the G note, the 6th. So here is the whole lick number 2. Okay, slow down. Okay, this is lick number 3, played at slower tempo. break it down, it uses chromaticism from E to C note over A minor, right? 8 minor 7 to B flat, and now you have this triller that Charlie Parker used a lot, approaching the F sharp and then describing the D altered sound. D7 flat 9 sound basically. And now you get over G minor 7, you get B flat major 7 arpeggio, which is superimposing the sound of G minor. It's producing a sound of G minor 9, right? You get this sound. Rhythm is pretty cool. Ta-taka, ta-taka, ta-taka. Listen to the accents, both in Charlie Parker's playing and what I'm showing you on guitar. It's not straight. It's not like every note has a different accent, right? It's not that. Ta-taka, 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 ta-taka. That's the ending. Using indirect voice leading, G to C, then chromatically G sharp or A flat to C, and then A note finally is the target, with C to D ending the phrase. That's the first chorus of the whole solo. So you get this. So that's the whole first chorus of Au Privave, Charlie Parker's solo, and here it is at full tempo again. Slower. Okay, welcome to the last section of the video. I'm going to briefly just touch base with you on some concepts that you should be working on from this solo and how to basically apply the licks that you learned today. First part of the solo uses approach patterns and Charlie Parker type licks. So when you're practicing your scales and when you have a chord progression like a single chord, you should be trying to adapt this bebop vocabulary in your playing, which means approach patterns. For example, just that beginning G to F is approach pattern. It's using a scale note approaching a chord tone, F. So if you have a F major triad, you should practice approaching every chord tone in that triad with a diatonic note. So you start, for example, G to F, B flat to A, D to C, and then you do it in all octaves, right? Different fingerings. I'm running out of frets there. So you get the idea. You can practice different rhythm with this. You don't have to do Charlie Parker's D-dum, right? You can go or tap, pop. More staccato feel, right? And then you can add the other approach pattern which he uses right after it. It's basically target note is C here, and he approaches it with a diatonically with D note, which is 6th or 13th, and then chromatically below entering C again. So rhythm is tagaraka, tagaraka, right? You get a triplet followed by 2 8 notes at a fast tempo. So you take this rhythm and you practice it. Now, notice here I'm using B flat, which is a scale note. A is a chord tone, and then G sharp or A flat is the chromatic approach, right? And again, you can practice this legato, like pick once. You can slide in, slide out. or you can use 3 fingers for 3 different notes, right? Practice different techniques. So I'm using 2 picks here. You hear the accent. Now when you play this in time, I'm using tabalapa, 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 that one. I'm starting from the chord tone actually. When I'm improvising, this comes out a lot in my solos, right? Because I've practiced that approach pattern a lot. I sang it a billion times and it's in my ear, it's internalized. And when I am on the fly making solos and improvising, being in the zone, that melody comes out. Hopefully you are going to do the same. If you practice the way I tell you, it's going to, come out eventually. So this approach pattern, though, is again scale tone above, chord tone, chromaticism below chord tone. Write it down, practice it all over your guitar neck, practice it over different chord types. You don't just do this over major chord, do it over minor as well. Right? That's F minor sound. You can do chromaticism above and below. Right? You get the idea. So that's basically just from the start of the solo. This one is typical Charlie Parker, right? You can take it. It's kind of like a confirmation by Charlie Parker, right? He uses that one there. Right? It's there already. So what I would do here is I would take this ending and practice adding it to my vocabulary. When I'm like about to change, to do a chord change, this is a typical bebop era. Not only bebop, post-bop, Michael Brecker used this a lot, when he's changing harmony and keys, he's like doing the signature phrases that are describing the really quality chord tones that are like setting you up to go to the next chord. So 9 and dominant 7, pretty cool. Right? And then you go to lick number 2, it's arpeggios. Right, that's the whole lick, but you get the idea. When you start with this arpeggio, first you think about the rhythm. It's pretty cool rhythm communication, and now you take this rhythmic phrase and practice with your arpeggios. You can start with major and then like harmonize the whole scale, right? Going from root to 2nd scale degree, 3rd scale degree, right? You get the idea. I just took the rhythm and I'm now doing the root inversion of the chords. Now you can practice the first inversion of chords, which, by the way, Charlie Parker did in the solo. He was using first inversion arpeggios. And I'm not adding any sixths, these are just triads. The more you guys do this, and girls, what's going to happen is these things are going to start coming out in your own solos, improvisations. If you don't practice this, learning the solo is not the goal. You can learn the solo, play for your family, friends, audience. People will appreciate it, obviously. But what you want to do is learn from the solo. And the way that you learn from the solo is you actually take the material, practice it in 12 keys, practice it with different fingerings, break it down, make it your own, part of your own vocabulary, and then obviously use your ear training, sing the phrases, and when you're improvising, these things are going to start coming out, right? That's the goal. Ultimate goal is you're learning from it. You're not learning for the benefit of I can play Charlie Parker solo, right? So that's something I really want to stress out. It's super important. Otherwise, you're becoming just another lick player. which there is no use for in this world. there's already too many lick players around, right? You want to take material from the greats, whether it's John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, or Michael Brecker, and learn from it, okay? So the next thing is, what do you do with this material? It's chromaticism, it's direct voice leading, right? And again, you can take this line, analyze it. Okay, A minor 7 chord, starts on E note, melody, it means it starts on 5th. Now you can transpose it, different string sets. It uses chromaticism, awesome. I wanna hear in my jazz vocabulary, the way that I can extend my jazz vocabulary is using chromaticism, obviously. So I love this. I wanna take it, move it through 12 keys, break down the rhythm, break down the lick, maybe. You know, it's totally different feel now than it does not sound the same, right? If you break it up, if you do Breckerism type of thing, which is basically taking the lick and editing it, it's going to sound far more interesting, in my opinion, right? So you go tega ta ta pa 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 ra pa tega, right? Whatever you're doing there, right? So you want to take the Breckerism approach and break down the lick, and instead of doing, which is bebop, hard bop stuff, you want to do post bop approach, which is it's now sounding different, right? You can even omit notes. You can go whatever you're playing after, right? So I would take this next part of the lick and practice it in 12 keys. Because it's direct voice leading, it's very useful for bebop vocabulary, and whether you're a rock, blues player, beginner, intermediate, advanced, you can never go wrong playing those kind of phrases on your instrument. It just sounds beautiful. This is typical Charlie Parker line. Right? And now, this one is great exercise and melody and melodic idea for you to practice your arpeggios. Remember, G minor 7 chord, up a minor third, and now you're playing from that chord. You're playing basically starting from the major 7, which is a half step below that. You're playing the major 7 arpeggio, right? And this is like you can move around, right? Here's A minor 7 chord. I will start on B note, C major 7 arpeggio. And there it is. Charlie Parker, lick, moved over different chords. Whatever, let's say B minor, right? You go a whole step. You get the B minor 9 sound. Here is D minor. You start from E note. You play F major 7 from the 7th, right? And that's how I would practice that, right? After this little melodic fragment from arpeggio, you're going to create different endings. So for example, if the chord is D minor 7 and you play this, you just don't stop there, right? You want to create something to end it. So maybe, or like D minor 6, right? And finally, the last lick is basically using indirect voice leading, right? And this you can practice over major chord, for example. You pick a C major chord, you're starting on 9th, targeting, or 2nd, targeting the 5th, then minor 3rd, and then major 3rd, followed by 5th and 6th. It's like over C 6-9 chord, right? And you move this around. You can even break that down more. You can just play this part. I'll just play one more time the whole lick. Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's lesson. I hope you enjoyed Charlie Parker's solo over Au Privave. It's take 2, first chorus, and a lot of cool things to learn, implement from this. If you're looking to study with me, please use the email provided in the description. And if you have any questions or are looking for notation and tab, again, email me. For any endorsements, sponsorships, or anything like that, you can email me as well. So this was Predrag Simovic for Predrag Simovic Music YouTube channel, and I'm really happy to see that you're enjoying the lessons. I'm going to keep making them for you. And let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share. See you around.